This is Tales from the Hood on our 31 spooky movies of Halloween. Today we're taking a trip to the mid-90s for a horror anthology with a message. Tales from the Hood now. Horror anthologies are a tricky beast. For every Creepshow, you get about 6 that feel like they were cobbled together during a smoke break, and Tales from the Hood lands somewhere in the middle. Both ambitious, occasionally fun, but also occasionally clumsy, and always loud. This movie sets out to tackle some very heavy issues. Child abuse, gang violence, police brutality, racism, systematic oppression. These are massive, weighty topics, and the film says, hey, let's just cram all into 4 short stories and teach people lessons with the subtlety of a chainsaw carving a birthday cake. This is not what I would call a film of nuance. This is a film that thinks nuance is a French word meaning boring. Let's talk about the villains because, oh boy, subtlety sure took the day off, packed a bag, and moved to Canada. The crooked cops in the first story, for example, are so cartoonishly evil, you would swear that they were rejected villains from a Saturday morning cartoon. They don't just brutalize a black community leader, they literally beat him to death while cracking one-liners. And those one-liners make Skeletor look understated. It's like the filmmakers wanted to make sure that even the back row of the theater knew who the bad guys were. The blind people and deaf people in the back row of the theater. These guys might as well have had "I am systemic racism" tattooed on their forehead. And then there are the gang members. Now, in real life, gang violence is complicated. It's tied to poverty, a lack of opportunity, desperation, community history, systematic oppression. But Tales from the Hood doesn't bother with all that messy human stuff. No! It just gives us the most generic paint-by-numbers gangbangers you can imagine. Actually, imagine the most paint-by-numbers gangbangers you can, and you still haven't gone far enough. These people, they just glare menacingly. They have all the depth of a puddle. If you've ever seen a 90s anti-drug PSA, congratulations, you've basically seen their entire character arc. And let us not forget the piece de resistance, the racist politician. His name is Duke. He's running for office. He lives in a plantation house. Subtle? This movie doesn't do subtle. The guy is basically David Duke run through a Xerox machine and handed a script that said, "Be evil and don't stop." The man sneers, he rants, he says racist things, he screams about immigrants and minorities like he's auditioning for the role of worst guest at Thanksgiving ever. He's so evil that if he twirled a mustache and tied a woman to railroad tracks, it would somehow be less obvious. At one point, I was half expecting him to pull off his human face and reveal a cartoon devil underneath, just one of those. And honestly, it wouldn't have felt too far out of place. Now, all of this would be fine. Cartoonish evil villains can be fun if the movie balanced it with some clever twists or layered storytelling. But here's the problem. Every story plays out in the most predictable way possible. You can see the shocking endings coming from a parking lot. Abusive stepdad, of course he's gonna get supernatural comeuppance. Crooked cops, of course they're gonna get supernatural comeuppance. Racist politician, of course he's gonna, you get the idea, you know he's toast. The movie isn't about what happens. It's about watching that punishment happen, and while that can be satisfying in a Tales from the Crypt sort of way, it also makes the whole movie feel more like a lecture than a story. But But let's move on to the performances, because they are a mixed bag. And I do mean mixed. First, I'm gonna go to the absolute cashews of this mixed bag, because Clarence Williams III is the MVP here. The man is having the time of his life as the funeral director. His performance is this beautiful, insane cocktail of both hilarious and unsettling. Like your drunk uncle telling ghost stories at Thanksgiving, but with the added threat that he might actually bury you in the backyard. Every time that this man is on screen, the movie just crackles with energy. Honestly, they could have just made the entire film about him cackling in a funeral home, and it would have been better. Rosalind Cash, also a star in this movie, brings real gravitas to her role. And David Alan Grier from In Living Color, usually known for comedy, delivers a surprisingly intense performance as an abusive stepfather. I mean, you could tell he really relished this part. Easily one of the stronger segments. These stars, all three of them, they elevate the material beyond what is on page. Now, the rest of the cast, yikes. Wooden deliveries, over-the-top mugging, line readings that sound like they came from a high school drama class. And you know, it's a shame, because the themes deserved more, but instead we get performances that feel like they were chosen from the 2 takes and we're done school of filmmaking. And speaking of filmmaking, the production values, let's be generous and call them quaint. I'm not gonna be generous. This movie's cheap, and it looks cheap. It's got flat lighting, sets that look like they were borrowed from a community theater. The special effects are serviceable, but rarely impressive. It has the look and feel of a TV movie that somehow wandered into theaters and hoped that no one would notice. Now, I know what you're thinking, he really hated this movie. But that's where you would be wrong. Despite all this, the predictability, the cartoonish villains, the bargain bin productions. You're probably thinking I hated this movie, but I did not. In fact, there's a certain scrappy charm here. You can feel the filmmakers really wanted to say something important and do something important, even if they said and did it with the finesse of someone screaming through a megaphone. It's clumsy, but it's earnest. And somehow that's enough to make something watchable and even enjoyable. So what did we end up with? Tales from the Hood is a horror anthology that wants to be both scary and socially conscious, and, well, it doesn't really succeed in doing either, but it's memorable. It's got some strong performance. It's got Clarence Williams III hamming it up so hard that you cannot look away. It's not a classic. It's not even that good. But it is an experience. And it's an experience that I do not regret having. So if you like your villains cartoonishly evil, your morals spoon-fed to you, and your anthologies rough around the edges, this might just be worth a watch. Just don't go in expecting Creepshow or Black Mirror. Go in expecting an after-school special on steroids with blood and some supernatural flair and very liberal uses of the N-word and drugs and guns and David Alan Grier. And you should be fine. And that is why Tales from the Hood should be on your list of 31 spooky movies of Halloween. So yeah, that was probably the most negative positive review I've ever given to a movie before. Seriously, I thought it was fun. Not great, but fun. Kind of clumsy, but fun. It's kind of like Goofy. You know, Goofy's clumsy, but we all love him. And you know what? Clarence Williams III, rest your soul, man. You saved this movie. You saved this movie. We needed more of the funeral director. Ladies and gentlemen, just as predictable as the plot of Tales from the Hood is, you know what I'm going to say next. I want you, yes you, to become a Patreon. Click the link below. It's down there in the video description. Hold on. Yeah, it's right down there. And you can donate as little as $5 a month or more if you're feeling saucy. You can also become a YouTube channel member and you can get these videos early. Unfortunately, y'all aren't getting this video early because this was recorded at the last minute because I just came off of a 5-day trip and I'm tired. I'm a tired little boy. It's down there, click it. My cat's at the door. I don't know if you can hear her scratching. Yeah, so watch this movie, it's fun. Go away.